Hi, everyone. Krista Giannak, Wise Words That Matter. And I'm talking about Goldilocks goals today. And I aim to set those Goldilocks goals, those just right goals. It was kind of funny that I came up with this idea of Goldilocks goals. And then I Googled them and ended up seeing a couple of blog posts talking about it, but really not too many. So it wasn't too much. And so it made me really think about my own ideas of what makes a Goldilocks goal. And what do I do when what I thought was a Goldilocks goal feels out of reach? Because that happens. That we're at the end of the goal period. Uh-oh, I didn't achieve my goal. So how many of you are really, you kind of have, this is how I feel anyway. I'm wondering how many of you can relate to this. I have two minds when I think about goal setting. So on the one hand, I'm really excited. I think about what I've, accomplished so far. I think about my successes. And on the other hand, I look at, I have that knot in my stomach when I think about goals because I'm thinking about where I'm falling short, what I haven't achieved, the goals that I set and they didn't work out. And depending on the goal, that can feel like a really big deal. So how many of you are with me on that? And it's not black and white. It's it's not like you have to set either a big goal or a small goal. There really are kind of ways around this. So because I look at how to deal with these goals. And what I realized was that I can start with a big vision. I can still start with those dreams, and at the same time, in the intermediate, look at those small steps. So I read a book called Mini Habits, and the concept of that mini habits concept is really all about making small changes that can ultimately, over a long period of time, or at least longer period of time, lead to bigger results. Or if you implement enough small changes, then you get bigger results. So tell me if that makes sense to anybody. Also, if there are any issues with my camera, please do let me know. And if you're listening to this, watching this video, listening to it in the background, just give me a shout out, say hi, let me know you're here. That means a lot. So I think it was KT or Katie is out there. Just wanted to say hello. And so we're looking at changing those goals. I mean, changing the perspective of how I look at my goals, and because small changes tend to be easier to stick with than those big changes all at once. So I've found that if I set a big goal and I have this huge action plan with loads of to-dos and this and that and this and that, sometimes there are plenty of days where it just doesn't work out, or maybe the whole thing doesn't quite work out, the whole goal. And when life gets in the way, it's the small changes that I can take comfort in. And it's the small changes that I can remind myself, that I can look at and say, I am going to achieve something with these small changes over time. Because that's the way small changes work. So to use the Goldilocks analogy, I can keep tasting the porridge. And I can adjust to find my Goldilocks goal if I'm not quite sure what it is. Because it can be difficult to know before you step into something, before you try something, what you can achieve. It's really easy to overestimate myself, and it's also just as easy to underestimate myself. So, I'm very sorry. KT is saying that they just lost their mother, and they met me at a mastermind. So yeah, and it's good to get to get reacquainted here today, because I know it's been quite a while since we've spoken. And so I look at, so when I'm setting a goal, a Goldilocks goal, or trying to come up with one, what I'm looking at, it's kind of a loose process, because like I said, I feel like it's hard to know for sure what I can accomplish until I actually go out there and do it. But I think about, at the moment, what I believe I can achieve right now. What are my beliefs right now about the success or failure of whatever I'm trying to accomplish? I look at what I believe I can achieve and why I believe that, and then also what I want to achieve and why I want to achieve it. And I look at whether I want to put in the effort or the work or the fun, depending on what the goal is. But either way, it's time and energy that I'm going to put into achieving the goal, or doing whatever it is I want to do. So I can feel, and as I go through this, I think about, I can feel that feeling of, oh, I can do it. And then I can also feel that feeling of, oh, well, that's a little too much. So that's sort of how I can feel my way through setting the goals, as I feel my own emotions and also look at my beliefs about the goals. And then I look at, well, are my beliefs always right? They sure as hell aren't. So I look for examples, role models of people who've already done whatever it is I want to do. And when I can find those role models, it's really helpful, especially if they can share things that I can also put into practice. Now, sometimes their situations might be different and it doesn't quite work out that way, and sometimes that can be discouraging. Usually, though, I find that role models are really encouraging, because I can look at that and I can look at their example and learn from it. And so when stuff happens, because I'm not going to use a curse here, because it's not always bad. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be neither, depending on how I look at the stuff that happens. But when the stuff happens, for better or worse, I have to acknowledge that I'm disappointed or sad or whatever it is I'm feeling about not achieving the goal or not being as far as I want to be. And then, or maybe I'm excited, and acknowledge that excitement of, wow, holy cow, I've done a lot more than I thought I would. And then after I've kind of celebrated or grieved, that's not quite the word I want, but the idea being that the goal that I've kind of experienced the emotion of feeling down about not achieving the goal, then I look at resetting that. Then I reset. Okay, reset. What do I want my goal to be right now? Now that life has happened, now that stuff has happened, maybe something got in the way, maybe something great happened. So this is kind of how I look at working on setting the goals, because I've done a number of different goal setting exercises with a number of different groups, and I've done them every year for the past probably 5 years or so, and sometimes more than one of them a year with different groups. And so I've really had to confront my feelings about goal setting, and also my experiences about setting goals that don't come true. And what I've realized is that that experience is actually more common than I thought before. So I'm curious about all of you. How does goal setting impact you or your business? How do you feel about it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear other perspectives, other points of view in the comments today. And thank you so much for tuning into my video. I love to see some likes, comments, shares. They are really helpful. And if you want more people to see the content, then definitely give me a shout out, a like, a share. And thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be back next Wednesday, 3 p.m., which is Eastern Time, for another Facebook Live on Wise Words That Matter. Bye. Happy holidays.